The train rattled to a stop. Anna stepped onto the platform, clutching a weathered letter in her gloved hand. Fog, thick and cold, clung to everything. It was like stepping into a ghost story. This town, shrouded in mist, held the answers to her brother's death. The letter, his last words, promised as much. It spoke of secrets, of danger, and of a man named Ethan who knew the truth. Anna walked towards the town, each step heavy with dread. The fog muffled every sound, amplifying her unease. She found Ethan in a dimly lit bar, his face etched with weariness. He looked like a man who had carried too many secrets for too long. His eyes, though, held a flicker of recognition as she approached. He knew why she was here.
"You're John's sister. He spoke of you often."
Anna's heart pounded. Ethan's gaze flickered to the door, then back to her.
"Your brother stumbled onto something dangerous, something bigger than both of us. He was killed for what he knew."
The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. Anna's breath caught in her throat. This was no accident, no random act of violence. Her brother, her John, had been murdered. But why? Ethan explained a conspiracy, a web of lies spun by powerful people. John, an investigative journalist, had gotten too close to the truth. He had been silenced.
"They won't stop. They'll come for you too."
A sudden crash from outside shattered the tension. Ethan reacted instantly, pushing Anna towards a back exit.
"They're here. We have to go now."
He grabbed her hand, pulling her through a maze of shadowy corridors. The back door burst open, figures silhouetted against the fog. There was no time to think, only to run. The night air hit Anna like a slap. She sprinted alongside Ethan, adrenaline coursing through her veins. The fog, once oppressive, now provided cover. They dodged through narrow alleys, the pounding of footsteps echoing behind them. Ethan's hand tightened around hers.
"The lighthouse. We can lose them there."
The lighthouse, perched precariously on a cliff edge, seemed miles away, yet it offered their only chance. They pushed themselves harder, their lungs burning, legs screaming for respite. The sound of their pursuers drew closer. Anna risked a glance over her shoulder. 3 figures, shrouded in darkness, were gaining on them. They stumbled into the lighthouse, slamming the heavy metal door shut just as their pursuers reached the entrance. The sound of the lock clicking into place echoed through the cavernous space. They were safe, for now. Ethan leaned heavily against the door, gasping for breath. Anna scanned their surroundings. The lighthouse interior was a whirlwind of rusted metal and shattered glass, a testament to years of neglect. But it was the figure descending the spiral staircase that stole her attention. A woman, tall and imposing, stood bathed in the faint glow emanating from the top of the stairs. Her face, framed by a cascade of fiery red hair, held a chillingly familiar smile.
Well, Ethan, it's been a while.
"Martha!" Ethan spat, his stance hardening. "I should have known you were behind this."
Martha simply shrugged, her smile widening. John was getting too close to the truth. He had to be dealt with. Her eyes, cold and calculating, settled on Anna. "And now you, dear girl, have become a liability."
She lunged. Ethan reacted instantly, pushing Anna aside and engaging Martha in a whirlwind of fists and fury. The lighthouse echoed with the sounds of their struggle, the air thick with tension.
Anna watched in horror as Ethan, clearly outmatched, fought with the desperation of a man fighting for his life. She had to do something. Spotting a heavy chain hanging from the wall, she grabbed it, swinging it towards Martha with all her might.
The chain connected with a sickening thud, momentarily stunning the woman. It was the opening Ethan needed. He shoved Martha back, sending her crashing into the railing. The railing snapped, sending Martha tumbling over the edge. Anna rushed to the railing, peering into the swirling fog below. There was no sign of Martha, only the relentless roar of the waves crashing against the rocks below.
Ethan, his face pale and drawn, joined her at the railing. "It's over," he whispered, his voice heavy with exhaustion. "It's finally over."
As if on cue, the fog began to lift. The first rays of dawn pierced through the gloom, casting an ethereal glow over the churning sea. And then Anna saw it. A glint of gold reflecting in the sunlight caught her eye. It was a necklace, a delicate gold chain with a small heart-shaped locket, her brother's necklace.
She scrambled down the treacherous rocks, retrieving the locket from where it lay on the jagged shore. Prying it open with trembling fingers, she gasped. Inside, nestled amongst the faded photographs, was a tiny memory card. This was it, the evidence John had died to protect.
Ethan stood beside her, his gaze fixed on the locket.
He always said you were the strong one, he murmured, his voice tinged with sadness.
Back at the lighthouse, as the sun climbed higher, Anna inserted the memory card into her phone. The files contained incriminating evidence against some of the most powerful figures in the state, including a prominent judge and a renowned philanthropist. It was a conspiracy that ran deeper than she could have ever imagined. And at the heart of it all was the man she had trusted, the man who had sworn to protect her brother's legacy.
Ethan watched her, his face pale and drawn. His silence spoke volumes. He knew what was on that card, knew the role he had played in her brother's demise. It was you,
Anna stated, her voice devoid of emotion. Ethan flinched, as if struck. He opened his mouth to speak, to explain, but the words wouldn't come. The truth was etched on his face, in the way he avoided her gaze. He had lured her here, used her to eliminate Martha and tie up loose ends. But why? What could have driven him to betray her brother, his friend?
Why, Ethan? What drove you to this?
As Anna stared at him, a memory flickered at the edge of her mind. A photograph, tucked away in a dusty family album. John, young and carefree, standing next to a man who bore a striking resemblance to Ethan. But it wasn't just the physical resemblance that sent a chill down her spine. It was the look in the man's eyes, a look of ambition, of ruthlessness, a look she now saw reflected in Ethan's face.
You were never John's friend, were you?
She whispered, the realization hitting her with the force of a physical blow.
You used him just like you used me.
Ethan's shoulders slumped, the fight draining out of him.
He was going to expose everything.
He muttered, his voice barely audible.
He was going to ruin us both.
Us? There was never an us, not for you. You were always on the other side, playing your game, sacrificing anyone who stood in your way.
The fog had cleared completely now, revealing the town in all its stark beauty. But the clarity it brought was a double-edged sword. The truth, like the rising sun, was blinding, and it cast long, dark shadows. Anna stood on the cliff edge, the wind whipping her hair around her face. The locket felt heavy in her hand, a tangible reminder of her brother's sacrifice. Below her, the waves crashed against the rocks, their relentless rhythm a soothing counterpoint to the turmoil raging within her. She had come here seeking answers, seeking justice. What she found was a truth far more complex, far more painful. Her brother's death was not just a tragedy, it was a betrayal of the highest order, and she, unwittingly, had played a part in it. But as the sun rose higher, casting its golden light over the vast expanse of the sea, Anna made a silent vow.
I will honor your memory, John. I will expose the truth no matter the cost. I will bring down the corrupt officials, the shadowy figures who believe themselves above the law. Your death will not be in vain.
She would ensure that John's death was not in vain. The town, bathed in the warm glow of the morning sun, seemed almost peaceful, a stark contrast to the darkness that had shrouded it just hours before. But Anna knew that appearances could be deceiving. The secrets ran deep in this town, woven into its very fabric. She left the lighthouse, the locket tucked safely against her heart. The fight was far from over, but she carried with her the memory of her brother, his unwavering pursuit of truth, and the knowledge that some legacies are best served in the shadows. As she walked away, she could almost hear John's voice, whispering on the wind, urging her forward.
Your fight is now mine, John, and I will not rest until justice is served.